Hey everyone, welcome to Recovcast. Come on in, we got friends inside. I have faith in you. That's why I said Seth is a sure shot. We're bringing him on. We're going to get paid, man. All right, guys, welcome to another adventure of Recovhub. Today, we have our special guest, Seth, on. How you doing, Seth?
I'm doing pretty good, dude. Just enjoying my Saturday.
That's what's up.
Got a nice haircut today.
Yeah, you look so good. I mean, where are you from, dude?
I was born in San Diego, East County. Lived there for most of my life. And then around 14, after junior high, family decided to move out here in Prescott, Arizona. I lived out here throughout high school, probably I want to say a 6-year stretch from high school, and then a couple years after. Got into some trouble.
Out here in town?
So
yeah.
How old are you?
I'm 28.
How long have you been sober?
Forgive me, but I don't really like to keep track of it. I like to focus on other things that are, that's very important to me. I like to focus on family and distract myself in the sense of...
So you wouldn't classify yourself as an addict or an alcoholic at this point?
I would say I have issues that are similar to an addict and an alcoholic, as far as I can let myself go and totally buy into a lifestyle that's not healthy.
So when was the last time you drank that you can remember?
Honestly, it's usually when, and this is a trigger for me, it's family events, when I'm with my family.
Oh, okay.
And it's always a holiday or a birthday.
Yeah.
Thanksgiving.
Yeah, because it feels all right, at that time. If you're with your family, you feel nothing's gonna go wrong, you're enjoying yourself.
And I don't let myself go like I used to when I was younger.
Yeah.
In my younger days.
Yeah.
Father was a cop his whole life for traffic. He did traffic forensics and a whole bunch of stuff.
Did he try to use his, cop tactics on you for punishing you? Get on the ground. Get
dad
your
was a police officer.
Hands in the air.
Yeah.
Let me see those hands.
No, he wasn't brutal to us. He more or less did the scare tactics of he would lay out these pictures and be like, this is why you need to wear a seatbelt. So your brain's not splattered all over the ground.
So what were you sipping on, dude? What was your DOC?
When alcohol first came into vision, or understanding of what it was, my parents used to have a poker night with these really good family friends of ours. So every other month or once a month they get together and they play poker, and I'd just look over and my mom had a daiquiri, and I was like, Mom, that looks good. That looks like a Slurpee from 7-Eleven. Let me have some. Nah, you wouldn't like it, And I remember one time when they were playing poker, they were like, all right, you're not going to like it. And I remember I took a sip of a beer. I didn't like it.
I don't even know how we click over into actually start liking alcohol, because as soon as everyone tries it, they're like, ugh. I think it's just peer pressure, or all of a sudden you get around kids and feel like you're supposed to do it. I don't know what
that was essentially what happened. I think when it was my 16th birthday that I can remember a full out.
Well, once the alcohol gets to your brain and that feeling, the taste equals the brain equals you will like it.
Let's not worry about the taste.
So, yeah.
Let's just worry about how it feels.
The brain takes over that part of it or whatever.
I was a very much a closed out kid when we first moved out here. So there was a lot of...
introvert, you didn't get out and talk to people, so you were just kind of closed up.
I didn't know anybody, and then probably, halfway into the first year of high school, I went to my first party, and mixed... Someone handed me a Dr. Pepper can. It was mixed with rum or something, and it was probably not even strong. As I can remember, I tasted way more Dr. Pepper than anything else.
So getting drunk equaled getting chicks or getting...
It was very much a social formality, social comfortness, acceptance.
Yeah, just opened up.
Yeah, I was able to open up. They were able to we were able to connect, sort of.
you didn't really know yourself. You kind of just felt like, you didn't really feel good about yourself maybe, and maybe the alcohol took that away, or did it just feel like you were introverted and that made you extroverted?
A little bit of both. I had some like psychological crap going on, like why my parents moved me out here, like what the hell is going on, why would they do this?
So you're uncomfortable in your own skin, basically.
Yeah.
And then moving out here is like a complete change. You don't know who you are. You're just shut down.
After that, like I kind of for the icebreaker, I kind of made a fool of myself, right?
What happened?
What
happened?
Dude, it was a Halloween party, and none of us really dressed up, but I could remember going to the party, going to the house, and then like the parents were just up in bed asleep, total like
Oblivious to the whole thing, or didn't care.
Either of those, I don't know. Yeah, kids were just smoking cigars on the back porch, and they would go up into her bedroom, and she had like this little loft, and dude and his girlfriend were like up there doing whatever,
Nice.
probably doing what they do when young hormones get into it.
Nice.
I just found this girl, and she wasn't the most popular girl or whatever, and then it became like a situation, like Seth did that.
You took one for the team.
I guess. But I mean, like, we didn't have sex or anything. We just made out and fooled around on the ground, actually. There was like this room, and two couples were on the bed, and like 3 couples were laid out on the floor. Like, everybody was just doing stuff, and it was odd. It was weird for sure.
So you just started off with the alcohol, and did you get into marijuana at all, or?
I brought a knife to school, but I made these little marijuana pipes out of Easter eggs, and I had the knife that I used to make them in my backpack. And these guys, I gave one of the pipes I made to a guy, and he got caught with his marijuana, and cops came. I almost got expelled for having a knife. This was like shortly after one of our high schools had a shooting at it, and a kid killed a bunch of people. And then after that, they found a knife in my backpack, and I almost got expelled. I think they knew I wasn't that type of kid. And, my dad was a police officer. He was super embarrassed.
Is he still a police officer? Is he retired?
No, he's retired, yeah.
So in San Diego, did you like surf and shit?
No, man. I rarely went to the
surfed,
beach. Yeah?
No.
You got a good pop-up?
You like it
kickflip,
better out here?
Being the family man I am now,
Yeah.
I look out for my family. And I think family-wise, out here is way better. And I do love the high desert, man, the mountains and the snow. We get all 4 seasons.
Yeah.
It's something you just don't hear about out there. You get wet rain, and then like nice weather.
Yeah.
So where'd the partying go?
It did go up.
Like after that?
After that, it was like all right, now I got to like kind of get something back from this, I got this horrible name for myself. Gotta make a better name for myself. Come on.
You call this that's a starter car. You gotta start somewhere.
The worst girl out of all of them.
Yeah.
It's a starter set. Just get
after that, dude, it was
You're
just
supposed to ride the scooter in the garage.
as long as no one knows, it's okay. It's okay.
No, it happens,
But you did it in front of everybody.
I did it in a room with 3 other couples. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
So you had to up your game, You had to step up to the plate here.
Yeah,
Get a
it was.
home run on
So you
this
just
time.
started partying or whatever.
I can't remember when the first one was from then, but it was a woods party, and after that, it was just like drink to get drunk and.
Did you ever get into like any heavier drugs or anything like that?
It was after high school is when I got into the heavy drugs. During high school, it was mostly pot, man. It was mostly just getting high. Throughout high school, though, I can say, like, junior year and senior year was my heaviest, to the point where I was, like, skipping classes and then also coming to classes, like, totally wasted or totally high. I had this girlfriend one time, and we went to some house down the street from the high school, and we got high, and I swear that the weed was laced with something like embalming fluid or something, because when I went back to class, dude, I swear the teacher was like a cartoon. Like if you read a comic book,
Yeah.
everything looked like a comic book. It was wild. I just put my head down and I slept throughout the rest of it. And
Did you have like a panic attack while it was going on, or how did you feel? Were you just like, oh, this is cool, man? Like,
I was a little bit panicked, and I think that's why I put my head down. I was like, I can't even talk right now. I can't do this.
I don't miss that.
No.
Like I think I've had weed sometimes that has been laced or something. Because I remember going to a rap concert and I asked my friend to get some weed, and he got it, and he was just like kept wanting me to smoke more and more. And then all of a sudden my vision went like so blurry. I was like grinding my teeth and I got super paranoid. I think he put coke on it or something. I thought he was my best friend, but he turns out he was a little bitch.
He was a little bitch. I mean, I would have been at the time, I would have been like, hell yeah, give me more of that.
Yeah.
You know?
I couldn't recognize faces, man. I thought I hated weed forever, and I was never really a weed person. I always wanted to like it. Like, everyone's like, oh, dude, you're so high, dude. It's so chill, man. I always would get paranoid. I'd always feel like I wasn't productive. I would just, like, lay on the couch and hopefully just get through. It would basically, like, pass the time, because I would just try and stay in that weed cloud, but I wasn't enjoying it. Like, it wasn't like I thought it was that tight. I mean, maybe a couple times I liked smoking weed, but the whole like hype on weed, man, it's I don't get it. I'm just not a weed guy. You got high with that chick. What was the next step that happened?
Where did the heavy?
Heavy.
And what did you do?
The heavy came after high school. I stole a GPS and a radar detector out of this Ford Mustang, and it was a sting operation, I guess. When they arrested us, they had like a stack of paperwork of like pictures of me in random places, my Facebook profile, like, and just a whole bunch of like what the detective was writing at the time about what I was doing. And before I got arrested, it was a bunch of ecstasy, some cokes, a bunch of pills, a lot of pills like Percocets and Vicodins and anything I can get my hands on, really. I'd crush it up, snort it, pop them, do whatever I wanted to do with them.
When did you think you like had a problem? Like, when did it get to that point where you were like, what the like?
Yeah, like I gotta figure this out, or otherwise it's gonna just keep getting worse.
I always felt like I had a handle on it. Mm-hmm. I never really, at that point, I never really got to a low point where I was like, shit, you know. Because I always had friends around me, and we'd always, like, we made this small community of, like, we'd support each other's bad habits,
But
right?
did you get to a point of, like, I gotta stop this? Like, what?
Well, being arrested, obviously, it was like a slowdown for me as far as hard drugs and pot and anything went. It was surreal to me. I mean, I always, for some reason, I always knew I was going to get into a situation like that. Maybe it was prolific, or, you know, I just...
Like, you never thought you wouldn't just stop on your own, but inevitably that was going to happen. That's what's going to correct you.
There was going to be a train wreck.
Yeah.
There was going to be a train wreck.
Yeah.
And that would correct me.
So when did you, like, what made you, like, stop drinking, pretty much? Like, just kind of, like...
being on probation for 3 years and not wanting to go back to jail, because they wanted to slap.
So you kind of, stopped after that, like, for...
Probation, absolutely.
Yeah.
I didn't want to go back to jail. They wanted to put me in prison. When they busted me, I got caught with paraphernalia. Like, I had weed paraphernalia on me, pipes and bongs. I had like $2,500 worth of glass on me.
You just decided to go through probation, and then that was gonna be it for you. You weren't gonna.
I was gonna refine myself. Yeah, I was gonna. You know, I can't obviously do these things. I can't go around stealing stuff anymore. I'm gonna end up there again, and I don't want to end up there. You know, a life in jail is not for me. A life in prison is not for me.
Yeah, I had to go to jail a couple times before I woke up, because the whole time I was in jail, I was saying, like, I'm not going to use again after I get out. Right. And as soon as you got out, got your stuff back,
you just feel, ease back into a comfortable situation.
And it just, for some reason, like, never clicked until probably the last time I did it, because I just remember I just kept constantly getting arrested. Like, I was at my old apartment in Vegas, and I was doing drugs in the bathroom, and someone found out and told, because I had nowhere to do drugs at. Like, I couldn't do it in my apartment because I'd get in trouble with my girlfriend. So I'd go, like, find this, like, spot by the pool that had a bathroom. I'd go in there and do it. Someone found out, told them. The cops came and, like, they were knocking on the door yelling, and I, like, flushed everything, kind of. And then it came back up, and they came in, just busted me up, basically. Just threw me into every corner of every wall, and then I got a paraphernalia charge, too. And I was in jail, and I was just like, I cannot believe I'm sitting back in a cell again. I'm like, God, what do I got to do to make this go away?
Right.
And I had a little bit more to lose. As soon as I lost everything, all of a sudden I was just like, I just can't do it anymore.
And when I moved back to California, it was like a whole new world because I didn't ever do, as much crazy party and stuff in California as I did out here. So it was odd to me to, like, go to the bars and go downtown in the gas lamp district. And
You didn't do any of that, really?
Oh, I did it.
Yeah.
Oh, I did it up, for sure, after a little bit of being there. My parents opened up a shop. They used to buy and sell storage units, like Storage Wars.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so I was working for them for a little bit. And then my cousin worked at a mechanical company called Pacific Rim Mechanical. And he got me a job there. He was, like, trying to, take me under his wing and whatnot and just get me a stable job with the benefits and 401 and whatnot. And I loved it. I loved working for that company so much. I was really good at it, too. But construction boys, man, they know where the drugs are. They know where the parties are.
Are they all on meth? Like, because they got to...
They're on... They're on anything and everything.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people jamming needles. You find needles in the porta-johns. You want to coke, you know where to go.
I think it'd be
the construction world is, like, horrible. Like, I know how many drugs are in there. And
yeah. It's really not
bad.
talked about a lot, I don't think, is that, the regulations on it is like, yeah, you gotta piss to get the job, and you gotta piss if there's an accident. But there's really not a lot of, like, upkeep on just making sure the workers are clean. And dude, lunchtime come around, I'd be in someone's car, smoking a bowl, snorting a line, getting back to work. Some days we did 10-hour days, some days we did 12-hour days, and that's just what you did to get through the day.
Yeah.
It was hard work. I carried, like, 60 pounds of tools on my hips sometimes, just getting ready for a certain job, a certain task. You needed all these tools and all these, like, all this hardware to just get a duct run in.
That's where it becomes a problem, is when you need, like,
you
go out and party the night before, and then you go into work the next day, and then you have to, like, have another drug to give you the upper so that you can make it through the day. And then you just repeat, like, this whole process of
cycle.
using drugs just to, like, function your life around that drug. Like, whatever it is, the downer or the upper. It just goes back and forth. Fucking sucks.
Your drugs weren't just for partying anymore at that point.
No,
at that point, you needed them during the day just to get through all the shit. Mm-hmm. But then at night,
I needed them to just, like, be around my family, like...
Yeah.
I was so high-strung all day that
And your dad didn't even see it, did he?
No. I mean, I was old enough.
Being a police officer.
I got off probation.
I'm just saying, you can hide drugs from, like... You can hide drugs really well from people, and that's what sucks. And
ignorance
is
bliss.
Ignorance is bliss. I think, they probably knew that I was still smoking pot, but they were happy that I wasn't in jail.
Yeah, exactly.
And knowing my father for my whole life, obviously, I know, the one thing he did teach me is, like, how to read people a little bit and how to, assess situations.
Read John right now.
Read him? Like, what do you mean, read him?
Let's just talk about John and, like, just read him.
There's nothing to read.
Dude, yeah, I hate being questioned by cops. Oh my god, I hate it so much.
He would definitely, if he wanted to know something, he would interrogate in a certain way. But he was very conscious about, like, family, like, ruin family by just becoming this interrogator. Becoming this force.
So did you get any more like trouble in California when you're out there, or did you kind of stayed out of trouble with everything?
I stayed out of the way of the law for sure.
So then you came back out here.
Well, I mean, yeah, I had a bunch of partying there. I met back up with my wife now, who I went to junior high with.
So she was in California too?
She lived in California the whole time. Met back up with her. I was like in a very lonely spot, like coming from Arizona where, coming from California where I had a good group of friends, coming from Arizona where I had built a network of friends, and going back to California where I'm like somewhat of an adult now, and I don't, I'm still stuck in these like later high school years, and I don't know which group to click with or where I go to click with that group.
Yeah.
And so I was a lonely kind of guy. I hung out with my brother a lot, and he's gay, so I hung out around the gay scene a lot.
Dude, I bet
That's
you guys
crazy.
swarmed, man.
It was
I
wild.
feel like
You're like, why don't you like me,
man.
huh?
I went to San Francisco and I finally felt like what chicks feel like when you walk. When I walked into a restaurant, right?
Yeah.
They all of a sudden all the heads turned. I'm just saying, like that's what happened. And I was like, stop looking at me, respect me. That's what I'm
Right.
thinking in my head.
Yeah.
'Cause I lived by West Hollywood for 5-6 years.
I'm not
and-
a fucking piece of meat.
yeah.
Stop
Like
looking at me.
stop. Look, my eyes are up here.
Yeah, or even like just the social encounters.
Did your brother? You have a brother and sister?
Okay, so I have the oldest sister, older brother, another older sister, and then me. So I'm
Did
the
they get into
youngest.
any trouble or anything like that? Or
My
was-
brother and I are the black sheep for
Yeah.
sure. And my brother,
Is he better now?
Yeah, dude, he's like. We'll start with like he has like 3 DUIs, and he,
Don't
He's
they have a
better now.
strike 3 rule in California?
do.
So did he go to jail for
he did.
quite a
He
while?
didn't go for quite a while. He went for like, I think he had to do a week or something, or he
Okay.
did like a month of work release, I think.
So does he drink anymore or anything like that?
He still does, but he's very conscious of it, and he is so smart. He's going for his master's right now in linguistics, and he's actually teaching at SDSU.
Where was your religion and all this? Like, were with God and everything
Man.
like that, or did you have any of that?
So my younger years, right, I was touched by God, and it was a moment I went to a church camp, and they did somewhat of an altar call to all the kids.
Out in California?
Yeah, we were at this lake. I can't remember what lake, but it was a big production. We had this catapult. It was cool. It was a cool thing.
Like
And
from Richie Rich, the catapult.
it was a moment of like I just felt this euphoric sensation come over me. It was like a very unexplainable, other than a euphoric sensation, come over me, and I was just wow,
And you weren't like drinking or anything, and just hanging
I
out
was
with a bunch
very
of.
young,
Yeah.
very young at that age.
Oh, at that age.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, like, so after all,
So there was a time lapse of like when my parents and we all stopped going to churches. I wasn't very versed in the knowledge of the Bible or God. So it kind of
so you just kind of stopped, and that's where you kind of lost yourself, everything
faded.
throughout all this stuff.
Yeah.
So, at what point, like, so you moved out there, you met your girlfriend at the time, right?
Yeah.
In California, and then you guys moved back here again.
Yeah, we did a little bit of like living with her parents, living with my parents. Her parents, throughout her life, she was sheltered to a degree, but her parents were very Christian, and I find it as a blessing. I've always had like people that speak God into my life. Max Payne is a good friend of mine. He's a very solid Christian, and even throughout high school, he was a Christian for me. I went to youth group throughout high school and started to get back into Christianity, but slowly faded away because it's just the wrong group of people. And it took, when we moved back here, it took like a really big incident for me to...
When did you get married, anyway?
2016.
Ooh, I put you on the spot.
That's right, babe.
And it was out here.
No, we went back to San Diego. We were planning on getting married while I was living in San Diego.
So when you felt that connection with God when you were younger, you just opened up the world to you. That's how we wanted to feel. I wish I could live in that feeling that you're talking about. Like, I wish that, like, I could always... I mean, I get bursts of it all the time when I'm praying and I'm doing God's will, or at least, what I hope I'm doing God's will. And then, back then, the way to guarantee a feeling similar, it's almost like a synthetic version of what that feeling is.
Yeah.
was the drugs and alcohol.
I moved back here. We got married in San Diego. We brought a bunch of friends out because we just moved here. So we went back to San Diego, got married there, came back here, and I couldn't quite swing out of where I was in the industry, the mechanical construction industry in San Diego. It was still very much of needing a substance to, just get through the day, which was, at the time, it was pot still. And, I've never been like a harsh, irate, drunk, or being high. I've never been like crazy or outlandish, doing horrible things. So, my wife didn't totally hate it. She, I was
She would let you go out to bars?
Yeah.
Why?
It was
Honestly.
therapeutic. I guarantee you
therapeutic.
promised that it was therapeutic, and that's what it was.
Like,
I'd come
you just
home and I'd
needed-
be a happy drunk. I'd do anything a man's supposed to do while he's not drunk. Dishes,
Yeah.
clean the house, But if I wasn't drunk or if I wasn't high, those things just didn't happen. I would sit on the couch kind of just burnt out.
So what was that accident that happened up here? Like, what happened? And was that a change in your life? And is that why, like, you got into this?
Yeah, were you sober when this happened? What you were talking about? What you're about to talk about right here? Okay.
No. This was just it was very much like I would go out after work. I worked at a small AC company up here. I'd go out after work, being back with some of the high school guys. Some of them, not any of the real bad ones, but some of the high school guys. And still like to go out and, burn the candle at both ends and go out and meet at Matt's Saloon downtown or meet at the bars downtown and just hang out together. And it's kind of like a freaking high school reunion. Anytime you go downtown out here, you see a lot of people that you've went to high school with or known for a while. And that's just like a meeting place. Like you go out and you do your work throughout the day, and then you can go to this bar and see all those people that you would connect with on social media or connect with through in a certain way. And basically we went...
It's pretty sad that everybody, like, thinks that that's the only way to connect is by going to a bar. Like, it's kind of... That's how our minds have gotten, because we're so uncomfortable in our own skin, so we have to go to a bar to meet up, and that alcohol is the center point of us getting together.
Yeah, it's
which
a focal
is-
point. It's like, yeah, let's go
which
to the
is-
bar. And
It's like
Now
fake
that I
and
look at
hollow.
it,
Like,
now that I look at it from being on this side, it's like so much. It's just so stupid to me. Like that's what you have to do to like meet up. Knowing that we go to the groups that we have now, dude, it's like it's awesome. It's like we get together and
Such a
we're
better
like
connection
we're
than I've
fucking
ever
real.
had.
Yeah, I know.
yeah,
We're real with each other.
Why do you need to meet somebody at a bar? I mean, who meets somebody at a bar and then falls in love and it's all good? It's like people go there when they have like trauma or issues from the past that they're trying to cover up to meet somebody and connect.
And they meet someone with traumas and issues
Yeah.
from their past, and it's just a bad situation.
It's like a
meeting
baggage
someone.
handler.
What I hear is what meeting someone
Yeah.
that's in recovery. You don't date while you're in recovery. I've heard that.
Yeah.
And for that situation, you're trying to fix yourself first before
Yeah.
you can do that.
So what happened then?
Basically, I had a friend from high school who was a trucker, and he was trucking over states, and he did all sorts of nationwide trucking. And he was in town for the couple days. He was, delivered something to Phoenix, had a couple days, and wanted to come up here and hang out. So I went out downtown with him and another buddy of mine. We met up at an Irish pub downtown, just shooting the shit, catching up with him because he's been gone for a while, hanging out with another buddy because, just hanging out. And that's what I did because I would, go relax and have fun, unwind. And
Did you get pretty drunk?
it was one of those things, dude. I was like, I got work tomorrow. I'm not gonna do that because I know
I'm only gonna have 7.
Yeah, I'll go to one bar, maybe 2 bars. 10:30, I'm at home. I'm gonna go to bed.
And what happened?
Oh,
Did you stay up all night or what? Pretty much.
yeah.
Closed them down.
We closed them down. Yeah.
Yeah.
We, from that bar we went to, it was like dead, and we're like, well, we're not quite digging this scene. Let's go to another bar and another bar and another bar. We ended up at Matt's, and I'm standing like at the dance floor at the back of the back bar at Matt's, just holding my beer, like just observing the whole thing. It's because it's kind of what I did. Like I stood back and I observed most of the time. And there's this ruckus that breaks out behind me, and it's my buddy, the trucker. He's getting in this altercation with this guy. I don't know what's going on. Come to find out, I guess the guy had put his hands on one of my friends, the trucker friends, a girl, put his hands on a girl and like held her by the hoodie and was like saying a lot of dirty shit to her, like, you like that, don't you, blah blah, whatever. And then they get kicked out, both of those guys. The other guy gets kicked out the back, my buddy gets kicked out the front. Knowing him, I know what's going on. Like, I'm gonna walk after him and see what's going on. You know, as soon as I get out of the front of the bar, I look to my left, and he's walking down the street, you know, trying to turn the corner, getting ready. So I don't run after him. I just walk after him, and he ends up, you know, meeting the guy in the back alley, and they start going at it. And I turn the corner of the back alley. I see him going at it, and just fades in and out kind of from there. I see him punching each other. The next thing I really notice is the guy has something in his hand. I don't remember him reaching for it at all. He has something in his hand. I thought it was like a fist pack of brass knuckles or, you know, some sort of... And I see him hit my friend in the face with this. And I'm like, holy shit, you know, I need to get in there, you know, help him out or just stop it, whatever. But I walk up on them and they're still going, and I start socking the guy in the face, you know. And his focus is on me, and that was kind of the intention, you know, to stop him from hitting my friend. And I don't feel anything. I don't feel him hitting me with a knife. I don't feel him stabbing me, and he ended up stabbing me 14 times.
Did the other guy, your friend, get stabbed too?
He got stabbed in the face. When I saw him hit my friend in the face,
yeah,
it was with the knife, and he got like 5 or 10 stitches right here on his upper lip.
So you got the brunt of it.
Yeah, as soon as he pulled out the knife is when I stepped in, and I got the brunt of it. Yeah, he stabbed me 8 or 9
Would
times.
you just pass out or something like that? You don't really remember? Or?
What I do remember is like everything just kind of closing out and going black.
Yeah. Just
like fading out and going black. And then when I did come back to, I was sitting up against the cop car, and the cop had my shirt off and was holding it against the back of my head because I guess blood was just like, or the back of my neck because blood was like squirting out of me. And he was just trying to stop the bleeding.
Damn.
And then from there, you know, an ambulance ride to the hospital here, and I'm slowly coming to, starting to feel the pain, slowly coming to, and all I'm asking for is my wife. And at the time, dude, we had a 1-year-old. My boy now is 4. We had 1-year-old Scott, and all I'm asking for, I'm like belligerently screaming for my wife and kid, like, where are they? And thankfully, you know, some people had contacted her and got her there, and I was able to see my kid and my wife while I was laying on the bed just bleeding. They had to take an x-ray of my chest because they were worried about it, because my oxygen levels, all my levels were kind of dipping.
Did you feel yourself dying? Or were you like, was it like an unconscious deal?
It was pretty well conscious.
Yeah.
I mean, it was very much unconscious to begin with, like slowly starting to feel the pain. But when I really, really felt the pain was when they tried to pull me off the gurney to set me on to the x-ray, the MRI or CAT scan or whatever they did to take the x-rays of my chest. I felt immense pain, like he had just stabbed me.
Yeah.
He had just stabbed me, and I felt all those wounds in my back just kind of like opening up.
How did he not hit anything?
Well, he did. He hit my lung 2 times, I think, and he was just like millimeters away.
I could see the scar on your.
He was like,
right
that
Yeah.
was. This is a surgical scar, so it was very much like little. Like, I don't know if you could see that. That's about the size of all. That's about the size of all my wounds right there. There's this little nick right here.
Yeah.
So all of them were about that size all over my body. So they opened me up to make sure that it didn't nick my artery.
Yeah.
But he did I did end up with a partially collapsed lung with blood in it and all that. They couldn't do anything up here. I got shipped down to Phoenix because they couldn't handle it up here. I ended up with 2.
And you didn't even have stitches yet at this time?
No, they just packed me. They
oh.
packed me. I was just so thankful to have seen my wife and my kid, because at that point in time, it was very much, in my mind, it was very much a possibility that was it. Yeah, it was an eye-opener.
Did your buddy, like, try to stop him from getting you, or what?
I don't remember.
How did that guy get away with this?
So, I mean, in Arizona, and it makes sense, I guess, in Arizona, with, we didn't have any kind of witnesses or anybody that saw this play out, how it played out. They basically classified it, 2 against 1. And then...
You think this guy, you don't even know what this guy looks like really or anything?
I know what he looks like. I've seen pictures of him.
Is he out here still, or?
He lives in Phoenix.
Oh, he does?
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. You forgive him?
Yeah, man. It's a bad situation. It's very much like a wrong place, wrong time. Blown out thing.
You were drinking and stuff like that. I mean, did you forgive him right away, or did
No.
Yeah.
No, it took a couple months of just a lot of depression and a lot of, like, soul searching. In the hospital. I'm in the hospital. I had my first surgery. I'm going white. I have to go get another surgery because it didn't work. Got my second surgery. Family shows up. My mom and dad show up. Her mom shows up. People are just pouring out love and doing whatever they can do to help us through this. And my wife's sister started a GoFundMe page for me because I'm out of work now for I don't know how long.
Yeah.
And we have bills, and people just started donating money for me. And I just, I had my buddy Max. He came to the hospital room. He prayed for me, prayed with me. And, I just felt that same sort of euphoric sense come over me.
Yeah.
Just,
From when you were a kid.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. That same sense just come over me of just comfortability and, like, happiness and being okay with where I was at. Like, not worrying about my health from here on out. Not worrying about bills from here on out. Just the pure love of not worrying about, but just being secure in the pure love that I felt then and with my family and just the support that I had then.
How long did it take you to recover from that? How long were you in the hospital for? Like, how long?
I was in the hospital for 10 days. 10 days. On the 8th day, I got the final tube taken out of my chest and sewed me back up, and they spent a few more days just looking over my vitals and whatnot, taking x-rays of my lungs every morning, coming in the middle of the night, checking my blood and everything. They did respiratory treatments and
So would you say, like, after this whole thing, like, you changed? Like, it changed you?
Yeah, it changed my mindset a lot on priorities. It changed my mindset a lot on values and just where I want to be in life and what I want to do.
You were so close to death. It's like, man, this could... Like, I don't want it to go out like this,
So those nights, like you were saying earlier about, like, how you were home with your wife and you weren't drinking and you were, like, agitated all the time. Did that all...
No way.
Well, I'm just saying, like, when you weren't drinking, like...
Oh, no, it went away.
That all changed.
I never felt like that.
Again.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Because you valued, like, you just looked at it differently.
Man.
Yeah.
The time we have here is important.
Yeah.
It's important. We have a job to do. We have a job to love everybody who's hurt.
So from that point on, when you started going to Bible study to this day, like, how much, like, growth have you seen and, like, what change have you seen in yourself?
Man, so the blessings never stopped. From the moment my buddy prayed for me, all that love I had in the hospital room, the support, it never stopped. From then on out, I still have support. That beautiful love of people that genuinely care about, me and my family, and how we are. The blessings never stopped. I was worried about going back to work. I didn't have full function of this hand.
Yeah.
This hand, and I still don't quite. I can't do this. You know, at the time for like 6 or 7 months, I couldn't even open my hand at all. It was like this. I could do this. You know, I couldn't even. I had physical therapy. I had a surgery where they opened me up right here and connected some nerves back together, and they were going to try and do some tendon grafting, some muscle grafting if they had to. Didn't have to, but
That must be horrifying to just like
not have a hand.
Yeah, like has all of a sudden the hands that you have are just like
Gone.
they're gone, and you're doing everything in your brain to make it.
I made a
work,
living
you
off of
can't
using
do it.
my hands, you know. I made a living off of working in construction with my hands. I was worried about where's it
Yeah.
going to go from here. So for those 2 months, you know, where it took me to forgive this guy fully and fully understand what happened, you know, it was very much God that came in and was like, hey, you know, this is not my plan for you. You need to realize.
I think I need to be thankful for like where I'm even at, like for all the stuff I've been through and seen, and I've been out to the bars and I never got, you know, that just happened to you, but you're still here today. But I never got that, and I've seen, you know, I had friends, like a couple friends, get really hurt, and they were out, they can't work again, they had to retire basically.
Yeah.
So it kind of sucks to see that.
But the blessings never stop, man. I had a group of friends come around me, and luckily one of those friends was, two of those friends were working at the mine where I work at now, and they were just starting up. And, you know, they had asked me, like, hey, you know, you can weld, right? And I said, yeah, I can weld. They said, well, are you going to be worried about not using one hand? And I said, I can weld with one hand. You know, I can do these things with a little bit of help. And with physical therapy, you know, I started getting my hand back. Was able to do more things with the hand and weld with both hands, and I was able to join with them, which was a major blessing. It was a double what I was making with the AC company.
How long did it take you to fully like get your hand and everything back and start feeling better?
I mean, like I said, I don't have full function back to this day, but I have, you know, what I believe to be more than I ever thought I would get back. It took, I did physical therapy for like 3 months, 4 months, and after that, you know, it was the end of physical therapy, and I just kept doing stuff at home and stuff at work, all day stuff, you know, just exercises with the hand, trying to touch fingers, and just working it out. And at night, some days I'd lay awake for hours, laying on the bed with my hand on the bed, trying to lift my fingers off the bed with the hand flat, just trying to lift my fingers off.
So you felt some of God's grace, getting to be recovered as much as you are, and you just feel like you want to take advantage of it and not let any of that old self come back in, and because you know how bad it can get. That's some like gangster rapper shit, dude. That's like you should put out a mixtape.
So you're not willing to shed the layers so people can see you,
Yeah.
and you can see people react to who you are. You're not gonna.
Dude, I've been
You're just
struggling
hiding
with
stuff.
that.
You're not
for
gonna
so
get any
long.
healing at all.
You're hiding stuff.
Yeah, you can't. Nothing's gonna get fixed if you're gonna.
It's fake, man. You gotta be so vulnerable to let people know the weakest moments of your life.
You gotta let all that stuff go.
Instead of being stuck in your own head. And when you're stuck in your own head, you're at the Bible studies and you're like, you could see the guys that are just, some guys don't, you know, some days you don't have it, but if you're just sitting there and you're stuck in your own head, you're not like showing who you are to everybody else.
If you're not
And it's-
vulnerable, you're not letting other people be
Yeah,
vulnerable.
and you're
either.
stuck in your own head.
Yeah, and it's also repetition too. I mean, like people say, why would I go to a meeting? It's not gonna fix me. Like, what am I gonna do? Why would the meeting change anything about, you know, what I'm going through right now? Just being around a bunch of people I don't know, and all of a sudden, like, I'm gonna get, you know, sober. No, like I remember in the beginning, like I had a hard
some
time
time.
going to those meetings, like what we go to.
Well-
and then after I went and kept going and kept going and kept going, it just keeps loosening stuff up in you. Stuff starts to get put away the right way.
I'm
And-
struggling right now. I'm trying to get better. But I noticed if I get out, like we all need attention, no matter what. Like whatever it is.
It sounds so bitch to say, but it's true.
No. So what do? I
Need
start
love,
I
man.
start calling people. I start calling my sponsor, and I go like today I went to the gym with him, and I was comfortable. Like we worked out, we had a good time, we talked the whole time, joking around. But before, like, I asked him to be my sponsor, and I was like, screw this. Like, this guy doesn't give a shit, you know? Like, I just kept stuck in my head, and I was, like, real short with him every time I
Yeah,
was
he's
talking to
got
him.
he's got so many other people calling him. Why would he care about me right now?
But now I started going to the Bible studies, and I'm talking to everybody. Like, nobody's going to hurt you. Like, they want to know. They want to know, like, what you're feeling. Like, you just lay it out on the table.
It's
and
tools,
then,
man. Tools, like the Bible study is a tool.
Yeah.
Your sponsor is a tool. These are your tools to use to fix yourself.
Because I was
to help
uncomfortable to
yourself.
talk with you at first, and then I just kind of like, you know what, whatever. I'm just going to start to get to know these guys a little bit better. And
You really got to
You're a
step
good guy,
out.
yeah.
You gotta step out. And I was lucky that when I did go for the first time, they had just started. They were only going for like maybe 6 months to a year before I joined into the Bible study, and it was still pretty small. And so the vulnerability was, and I was told that too by Bob and by Brendan. They said that this is not going to work for you unless you tell them your story on what happened and tell them how you feel right now, what you're going through right now. If you don't tell them, you're not gonna like it. It's not gonna work for you. So I had to, and I did, and the release of pressure, tension, being stuck in myself was amazing. So it clicked right then and there, and just hit the ground running, kept going.
it was like, do you struggle with anything like today? Like, what do you struggle with like right now that you're trying to work on?
Time, honestly. Going into this whole new season of life with, hoping to get into pilot school, and it's a major issue for me right now. I have a lot of anxiety about it, of just, I already feel like I don't have enough time to do the things I want.
Here's the thing is, like, we always look at the end result, like, and we get that like euphoria of like, I'm gonna do that and I'm gonna be that, and you see it, but we don't step into the reality of right now and only looking ahead 5 minutes, and that's it. So if you just take it and just start the school, and you go every single day and just start doing it, you get into that rhythm, because it's not gonna happen overnight.
No.
Same thing for me. Like, I'm always trying to be like, I do my homework, but I'm just doing it. I'm not thinking ahead of like, oh, I'm gonna have my license at this time or whatever it is. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, being
So
very
just
present
take
in
it-
the lesson.
Just being present like all the time. Don't look at it as like a huge thing. Look at it as like, oh, I'm getting this loan, I'm doing this, but try not to like imagine what it's gonna look like, because it's never gonna look like whatever we
You
project
picture
it. Yeah, exactly. So just say like, this is what I'm doing, and I'm doing it, and just take it one day at a time.
God's gonna put me where He wants me, and that's what I rest in. Is I felt led to go to school. I felt led to be a pilot. I feel led to be a pilot, and the end result will be the end result. And
Yeah, no matter what
Yeah.
it is.
it's a flip or flop. Either I'll be something way more than I can imagine, or I'll just have a sweet pilot's license and some huge debt.
If we don't start, if we don't grow every single day with something that we do, and we just stop and we stop learning,
We'll fall right back into.
we're dead.
nastiness.
We might as well just die.
Yeah.
Like, you might as well use like, so the whole thing in life is to grow, and I'm starting to like, man, I'm learning every day, and I just try to learn from other people.
So uncomfortable.
So whatever.
Yeah, because it's tough, and you got to put yourself out of your comfort zone.
Yeah.
Yeah, but everything you do outside of that comfort zone is growth. Like, your life begins outside of your comfort zone, basically. And God wants that for us. God wants us to constantly be in that
Just
uncomfortable state.
Go and make disciples of the nation.
I would just say, just don't
Peace.
stop. Yeah, don't stop growing. Just like expand yourself into the uncomfortable at always.
Yeah, I don't know. If anybody wants to hear it, but just if you're struggling, if you're hurting, do something for yourself. Go and find the people who are willing to let you be vulnerable and listen. Not try and shove fix-its down your throat, but people, who have struggled through the same thing. And that's what our group is people who've struggled through the same things or similar things. And we're able to bounce off our hurts off of each other's and our triumphs off each other. And through that community of just comfortability and community is it's a beautiful thing for growth, a beautiful thing to just become the person you were meant to be and find out who you are. You know, really find out who you are, because I've definitely found out a lot about myself through going through the Bible study and meeting you guys and new people, almost, it seems like every other month there's someone new.
Would you say like replacing that with going to the bar, is it way better for you?
There's no comparison, man. There's no comparison.
And you would think on the other side, you'd be like, no fucking way, I'm not going there. What
you
would think that. It's such a weird shift.
I can't pull out the scripture right now, but in somewhere in the Bible, it's just your mind changes, your priorities. It's like you think, Christians, they lead such a dull life, and it's like, no, once you let God in, once you surrender, He will bring these things to light for you of joys, of what you thought were dull. He will just renew your spirit, renew your soul to the point where these things, like for me, seeing my kids smile is so much different now than it was before. Seeing the snowfall is so much different now. Being in the woods, being sunrises, just nature is beautiful. People are beautiful.
I'm probably not even at your level yet, but I'll be there. I'll be there.
Dude.
It takes time. It's like
it's an up and down thing too. Like there's days I can't see that.
Yeah.
There's days I can't see that. And what I do is I cling on to the truth. And the truth is that you will have trials and tribulations. People think, being a Christian, your life is solved, It's not, it's a hard battle every day of finding out the ways God has joy for you, and the ways, He's refining you through these trials and tribulations. He's making you tougher. He's making you smarter. You're able to resist temptation a lot better and easier after the growth of time. It becomes easier. Guaranteed. I put my money on that. Guaranteed that you give it the time, it will. It does work. It's truth. It's beautiful.
All right, guys. Well,
that's awesome.
Yeah, that is awesome. Thank you, Seth, for coming on the show.
I appreciate it.
Seth's got a mixtape about to drop. Yeah, it's doing the damn thing, Lil Fitty. Check him out on Spotify or with SoundCloud or whatever. Yeah, it's pretty dope. Yeah. Nailed it.